Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Concert Junkies, Rob and John. Oh yeah.
And we're live. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Wes Meadows. I am one of the front people in the USUC Flying Circus. I've got a bunch of other members that aren't here with me. Shouts out to Willow, to Ben, to Steve, to John, to Kyle, to Micah, and to Ryan. I'm pretty sure I got y'all. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm forgetting one, but you'll be sure to tell me in the chat later if I forgot your name. I'm sure. And we are the USUC Flying Circus, again, from Cleveland, Ohio.
How'd you get the name? Like, that's just not a normal band name.
No, it's not. A lot of people ask this question. I love talking about it because it's unlikely. Your first thought is Monty Python, right? No, not that. It's not that Flying Circus. Back in 2012, 2013, when I was going to college, there was a game on Facebook called SimCity Social. And you could, build cities like next to your friends' cities kind of thing. And if you wanted to have a good relationship with your friend's town, you would send them like a little thank you balloon. And if you wanted to have a bad relationship with your friend's town, which, gave you a different set of items and whatever, you would send them the USUC Flying Circus. And it was a little like an airplane that just goes over, and it has a banner that just says "You suck," and a bunch of fireworks go off. And I was sitting there like, that's a good band name. That's like a band name for like an emo band or something. I should keep that in my back pocket. And obviously it didn't really turn out to be an emo band. But in 2015, 2016, I just started collecting recordings that didn't have any other place. And I just started putting them on Bandcamp under the name The USUC Flying Circus, because every one of the collaborations had a different lineup. So I was like, oh, well, this will just be a catch-all name. And after a while, it became like a band that people started asking me to play shows. So I put together a live lineup. A couple of members of the live lineup moved away, so I got a couple more, but then a couple came back. And one thing led to another, and now we've got, on average, 8 members in the band at any given time.
So how would you explain your music to someone that's never heard of you before?
It depends on how musically in touch they are. Like when my grandma asks what kind of music I play, I say rock and roll. I play rock and roll music. But if someone who's into the alternative scene and whatever, if they ask, it's like, well, it started off as post rock, and we've got a little bit of grunge in there and some shoegaze. But a lot of people, would call it post-hardcore or something like that, because we do get pretty loud and heavy.
Since you said you have members come and go left and right, how does that balance? Like, how is
it was
that
it's hard to make it function sometimes, but we don't need all 8 members to go out and do tour and stuff. On the last tour we had 6-piece, and that was totally fine. We mainly have 8 people so that it is possible for people to come and go as they please. There's not pressure like, oh man, we need you to make it to this show because you'd be, you're the 5th guitarist or something. It's easier to, hey, I'm taking some time off the band. Do you think so and so could play my parts instead, or something like that? So and we all have our own recording gear. Well, mostly we have our own recording gear, so that makes a huge difference in just getting the albums done. We don't have to get all our stuff and all of our people together and head to a studio. And like, it's like, I get together with the drummer and the people who write the songs, and we record together, but then everyone else sends me parts afterwards. So, and we plan tours like 4 or 5 months out. So we try and make sure that every member can make it. But, you know, when you have that many people to consider, obviously, sometimes it's just not going to work out. But for when it does, we do have an 11-seater van, and we do tour as heavily as we can.
So out of all your songs that you've written, which one do you think was the hardest one to put out?
I would have to say that it's not even songs. There's a whole album. We call it LP4 because the name is just a bunch of dashes and slashes. We tried to make it. Our drummer called it intentionally obtuse. Like, we barely, like, he said, like, oh, it's like you don't even want people to listen to this. But the secret about it is I didn't want people. I was still in the studio working on like important stuff like vocals and like drums days before the album was supposed to come out. I knew we wouldn't have physical copies in time. I knew it wouldn't get on Spotify and stuff in time, but I was just like rushing to get it to Bandcamp and YouTube or something at least. And I rushed a lot. And I have been told that a lot of people really like that album, but I feel like I didn't do a great job mixing, and it's kind of a mess. And it was really hard for me to, like, when I got it all up ready to go on Bandcamp, to like hit publish, because it was just like, man, how many people would I disappoint really if I just didn't release this album? Just took this whole like thing that we've been working on for months and just say, no, it's not coming out right now. Like, it was really hard to decide, but we did release it. And one of our songs, it became like one of our most popular songs, comes from that album called Nothing Familiar Remains Upon Your Return. And in hindsight, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad that it's out there, and I'm glad that people enjoyed it. But it was a hard one. It was a hard one to make, and it was a hard one to say, all right, I'm done, and I want other people to hear it.
Since you're technically a 6 to 8 piece band, isn't that hard to, what do you call it, get everybody together? And I know you said that everybody has their own gear at home and whatever the case would be. I'm saying the thinking processes and the arguments and the 8 people is a lot of people for a band to put all their stuff in one pot.
Yeah, to put all of it in one pot. Sometimes people send me tracks, and it's like, dog, I don't think this is gonna fit. I don't think I'm gonna use this. And I've had other, like, I send what I want the mixes to sound like and what I want the track list to be to the group chat, and I've had people be like, oh no, oh man, I don't want that song next to that song. That doesn't make any sense. And you mixed my part a little weird in this part of this song, and I have to do my best as the ringleader of the circus to make sure that everyone is at least okay with it, as happy with it as they can be under the given circumstances of having to please upwards of 10 people.
With that many members, like, what's the payout? Like, I'm saying,
the payout.
I'm saying, like, when you're playing a show, there's 8 heads. Everybody's still got to eat. Like,
yeah.
How are you? Because you can get $50 and night everybody gets $1? Like, it's not
Well,
really, you know, how does that work?
it works okay because we've been playing around enough at this point where we can ask for a modest guarantee. We can ask for food and drink to be compensated. Um, a lot of shows that we play, the food is included, and when you have 8 people, having the venue feed you is like, oh man, that saves so much. But that saves $50 minimum every single time we get to do that. And the guarantees that we get assure that all food, all gas, and all lodging are taken care of. And sorry, I'm in the mirror view, and my brain is confused. Those things are taken care of. If you wanna, if you wanna drink on tour, like I'm not gonna buy your beer. If you wanna, take a day off and go to a show or see you'll get on a roller coaster or something. Like, I'm not paying for you to get into Kings Island, but just have fun, be back by the time the show starts, kind of thing. So people know going in that at the end of tour we're gonna split up the profits reasonably, and they'll be left with like enough to pay one of their bills, and then we go back to work at our normal jobs and save up a bit of money till we can do it again. So while touring isn't lucrative, too lucrative yet, I think it will be soon. I think the more that we do it, and like the more we like just stick to our guns and do everything like methodically and get everything like taken care of for tours like that, like making sure that our food and lodging and stuff are all taken care of, that we'll be making more reasonable money within the next couple of years, I hope.
So, like, what? So,
I
what do
mean,
you guys?
we
So, what do you guys do for real jobs? Because are majority of them remote, or how does that work that you can take 4 months out?
well, a lot of the band members are teachers or food service people, bakers, um, but then a lot of other people have careers more like mine where they're eternally freelance. When I'm on the road, I can still be helping people promote, and I can still be mixing and mastering and doing all that kind of stuff. So that's my job, is primarily working with bands, and the other members, they we're lucky enough that pretty much everyone has a very flexible job. We just have to go to the job and say, hey, this time 3-4 months from now, I'm not going to be here for like 2 weeks, and the jobs pretty much just say okay. And that's another very lucky thing. Like we've been working on it for a while to get jobs that allow us to be flexible. That's important to us, that we're not like breaking the bank to tour. So like, and it's important to us that we don't just like, when I was in a ska band 2010 to 2020, all over the place, shouts out, we didn't tour smartly. We didn't get guarantees. We didn't ask for people to come our food. We didn't ask for places to stay. We just hemorrhaged money, and it was bad. And when we'd leave for tour, and if our crappy minimum wage job said, "Oh, we're not going to let you go. You can't leave for a week," we just quit. We just quit, and we get another one when we came back. But now that I'm 29 years old, I hated doing that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to work for a seventh pizza place. Like, I've had enough slang and dough for a lifetime.
I just always wondered that because it was like 8 of you, and like. So, what is your dream bill? Who do you want to play with?
Dream Bill. God, it's a tough one, and I think it changes every couple of years because the band changes, their sound changes a little bit. But as of right now, I'd say that our dream bill would probably have Do Make Say Think on it. Another a post rock band with 8 people. They're from Canada. They've got like a jazzy feel to them, and they haven't toured the U.S. in like 6 years, and I missed it when they did, and it's killed me ever since. I think that would be one of the bands, and the other band, assuming we're the headliners in this scenario, the bands that I would have open for me in this hypothetical. The other one, I would get Bomb the Music Industry back together because they were another like loose collective of musicians that released their music for pay what you want online. It kind of revolutionized DIY music as a whole in the 2000s. I would bring them back to life for one show. That would be my ideal 3-band bill. Bomb the Music Industry, Do Make Say Think, and the You Suck Flying Circus. I'm sure every single member would give you a different 3, but that's my 3 for now. You can you can trust that at least it's reasonably accurate because I do write mostly the majority of the songs. A couple of people, John Bukovac, he's been catching up with me. He's got 3 or 4 songs on the new record, and he's like our Brian Wilson. He lives in Rochester, and he does not tour with us. He plays 2 or 3 shows a year when he's in town or when we're in his town. But he writes the majority of the songs that end up being like singles and like classic bops. John is writing them.
So let's do a bigger scale here. 2-day festival. First day female fronted, second day regional. Who are your top 5?
I would have to. I'd get Home Is Where for female fronted. I'm talking Home Is Where, Awake but Still in Bed, Broken Social Scene, Left Out, a Columbus band, and us, the You Suck Flying Circus. That's right. I'm headlining the first night, not the second night. For regional, I have so many bands that are from this region that I respect the heck out of. I would get Hollow, an Antifa core band from Columbus. I would get Flipcoin, a musical, sometimes duo, sometimes trio from Cleveland that switches places when they play, and they're both fantastic musicians. Michael Stanley, he's a Cleveland staple. I don't think anyone outside of Cleveland pays much attention to Michael Stanley, but that just makes me love him more. And Guided by Voices from Akron, they'd be headlining. They've been around forever. They do the DIY thing better than anyone else. I don't know a single other band who got in advance from Domino Records for $10,000, spent it all on beer, and turned into a 4-track tape recording. That's absolutely badass. Can't get cooler than that.
If you had to take somebody on a, say, tour of your city, where would you take them?
Berea specifically. I'm not talking Cleveland. I'm talking Berea, the tiny city that's outside of Cleveland, where I'm like from. I say Cleveland because it's easier, but people that are from Cleveland are like, oh, you're not from Cleveland. I was born at a Cleveland hospital. We can debate it all day, but Berea in particular has a very rich history in like having bands being musically inclined. Uh, our high school band usually goes double A in contest. We've got Baldwin Wallace College, which is a music-based college right there in the middle of town. That there have always been just, indie rock bands popping up and stuff constantly, forever. And I think the most beautiful part about our town is the metro parks. It's a big, vast expanse of park system that just splits the town directly in half. Like, you either have to go through it or you have to go through over bridges over it or something. It's just, and I go to a lot of other cities, and they don't have anywhere near as much park space as we do. We've dedicated this, and it's not like a well manicured you know city park. It is miles and miles of borderline wilderness. Some of them, it's like a wildlife sanctuary area. Um, and There's a place, Co Lake. It used to be a quarry, and then it was a trash dump, and then it filled up with water. So now they consider it a lake, which is kind of disgusting. But I have swam in it, and I might again. But Co Lake is a really beautiful place. I hung out there a lot when I was a kid, playing hacky sack, drinking Arizona teas with my pals. Um, I mean, honestly, if we weren't hosting a show in Berea, there wasn't much for kids to do. So I think when I'm hosting shows, when I'm organizing events and stuff, I really hope that kids feel like they can come out to them, because I want to have a better Berea than what I grew up in. I want to have a more inviting place. Even though, like I said, it was inviting, but if you loiter too long in any public place, the cops will come and tell you to move on. And it's like, well, if we can't hang at my mom's house, we can't hang at your mom's house, we can't hang downtown, I guess we're just gonna go sit in the metro parks and sit in the park and play music. And we did a lot. And I think it didn't keep us completely from being hooligans. We did our fair share of mischief, things that would probably be frowned upon by authority figures and such, but I think we did the best with what we had, and it's still one of my favorite parts of the city. And we'd get two different kinds of food. We'd get donuts from Spudnuts Bakery. They call it Spudnuts because they make them with potatoes. I don't know why it's different, but it tastes so much better than like any other donut I've ever had. I can always tell the difference. And then we'd head up to Pickwick, up near the rec center, because Pickwick, it's just a like a convenience store kind of place that also has giant footlong sandwiches for $7. Like, you can't get a $5 footlong from Subway anymore. You can't get a footlong with this kind of meat and cheese, and like, they stack that thing so high. You can't get another sub in town for that price. It's absolutely unbeatable. And they have a killer chip selection. They got so many different kinds of chips from like local chipperies, little cheap chip makers. Wise chips. I don't know if you've ever heard of Wise chips.
Yeah.
But there's a honey butter cheese doodle. Like, oh my God, what are they gonna think of next? That's the best chip in the world. And the only place that they sell them in Berea is at Pickwick. We wrote a song about Pickwick, actually. We every time for our third album, Spirit Homes, every time we would write a song, we would name it the name of the closest non-commercial beer store. So we ended up with names like Pickwick, 14-0 for our Columbus one, Berea Beverage, Birdtown Beverage, Twice Good Wines in Berea. Just every single, and we had to keep branching farther and farther out the more songs we wrote. but that was a very fun name thing, and Pickwick deserved it. It was a good song, and they make a good sandwich. And that's my answer. I think that's a solid answer.
I'm gonna let you flip. I'm gonna let you flip it on me. You can ask me any questions.
All right. Well, you recently interviewed the 350th band for Concert Junkies, and you just hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Um, how long have you guys been doing this? Like, you said, like over the last couple of years, but like, how long has it been?
Next month, I believe, will be 5 years.
5 years. That's a long time to be doing something. But God, 350 bands over 5. That's 70 bands a year. That's like, I don't play 70 shows a year. Sometimes I do. In 2019 I did. But post COVID I've been taking it a little easier. But that's more shows than the USOC Flying Circus is playing this year. That's a busy schedule. And you were saying like there have been a couple of days where you've had to double up and do like multiple recordings in one day. Like,
yeah, I produce about 3 to 4 a week.
What made you want to do this, and what makes you keep wanting to do this?
It was actually a conversation at a karaoke bar. I had one person that was going to do it with me but couldn't, and the other person was doing it with me, then bailed out a little bit. But I love every minute of it. I get to talk to everybody from all over the country, actually all over the world. I get to shine light on bands that's probably never been heard before.
Yeah.
I mean, I've made plenty of friends on the way doing this. Like, music is everything to me. I'd rather have music on than TV or anything else.
Same.
I go to about 36 concerts a year, maybe more. Depends on the year. Or, I mean, a few of them gets canceled here and there, but I'm saying I'm normally at almost every show possible.
Nice.
Every type of music. I'll be in the. I mean,
what band do you think you've seen the most times?
It would have to be Korn or Seven Dust.
Nice.
I don't miss. I've missed, what do you call it? 2, I think, of Korn because of they got rescheduled. It was weather permitted, weather. Yeah, I've never missed a Korn show or Seven Dust. Those are the only 2 bands
That's
I've
awesome.
not missed. Whenever they're in New Jersey, I'm there.
That's cool. And how far do you go back with Korn? Did you were you seeing them in the 90s? I'm not sure how old you are.
I've been following them since way before the first album.
Nice.
So that was
Wow.
93, I believe. 92.
That sounds right to me. But wow, that's really cool. Honestly, Korn is a really cool band. I really love how unique, even in terms of like they can call it new metal, they can call it grunge, but like there isn't really another band that sounds quite like Korn for me. And like, there's the obvious comparisons of like, Slipknot and stuff, but there's something about Korn that I find really fascinating. And especially their early stuff, like, the fact that once they tracked Daddy, that they did not want to play it again for like years. I think it's easy to not put a lot of effort into grunge or new metal music, but they gave it everything. They gave it their all constantly, and they still do. They're still a fantastic band.
I would just love to see that song live. I mean, I know it's not going to ever happen, but I would
Yeah.
love. It's like one of those songs that, like, it's so iconic and just raw. Like, you want to see that live.
Yeah.
I think they did it once, maybe maybe twice in all these years.
Yeah. It's like
It has to be on film somewhere, but I have not witnessed it in person.
that's and if you've been
I'd
going
probably,
to corn shows for that long, that's pretty rare.
yeah, I would probably lose my shit if I heard it live.
Well, hey, my phone just hit me with the low battery warning, and I can't plug my headphones into it while also charging it because it's a terrible iPhone. So, do you think we could wrap it up in the next 10 minutes?
Yes, we can.
Excellent.
So, what do you guys? I mean, I know the new album and everything else, but what's the main plan for the rest of the year?
Well, the main plan for the rest of the year is we didn't release everything that we've got. We released 10 of the 17 songs that we recorded for this record. In June, we're going to be releasing another 5 of them and playing 5 local-ish dates, Midwest, Cleveland, Columbus, Akron, Cincy, stuff like that. And then we're going to release another song at our yearly festival that we're headlining, Flower Pot Records Fest. It is July 9th in Berea, Ohio. And like I said, the USUC Flying Circus is going to headline it. We're going to release a new song. A week after that, we're going back out on tour. We're going to hit New England and some of the Midwest on this one, hit the East Coast and come back. Then we've got, hopefully, fingers crossed, we haven't been confirmed for it yet, but we should be playing a festival called Porch Rocker in Akron, Ohio in August, along with a couple more local dates. September, we're going like to Chicago, Milwaukee area, the other side of the Midwest and back. And then we're gonna hibernate and we're gonna try and write some new material.
So, where in New England are you playing? Do you know?
We're hitting Worcester, Massachusetts. We're hitting New Haven, Connecticut. I'm trying for Rhode Island, but it's a very tiny place, and I don't know if there's much there. No offense to any Rhode Islanders out there. If you're a Rhode Islander out there, please hit me up. Tell me where your venues are. I see like none. We're not hitting. I only know one place to play in Maine, and they can't do it, so we're not heading that far up. But then we're coming back via Brooklyn, New York, Philly, Hershey, PA, and then heading home from there. And we're hitting Rochester on the way over. Rochester and Albany on the way over.
So you're like the third band I spoke to that's not hitting New Jersey. Shame.
Next time we will. We've hit it before, and it's honestly a pretty easy place to book. You guys have a lot of venues.
Yes, we do. We have a lot of venues. A lot of good ones.
Next year, we're going to do a tour down to Florida and back, and on the way back up, we will hit New Jersey. That'll be in March. Mark your calendar. I'll be hitting you up.
That'd be pretty cool. So, do you want to say anything to your fans?
Listen to Warning Shot. Drag is harmless. Believe in your dreams. And listen to Companion by the USUC Flying Circus.
Do you want to drop your socials?
Yeah, we've got Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, everything but MySpace. It's usually the USUCs or TYSFC On Facebook, it's the whole dang name because we got the room for it. The You Suck Flying Circus. Check us out. Bandcamp, Spotify, Wimp, Tidal, Deezer, Napster, everything. We're on everything. Come find us. Come see us.
All right. I just want to make a reminder that this is on Facebook, Concert Junkies, Rob and John. YouTube, this is on YouTube, Concert Junkies, Rob and John YouTube. This is on Twitch, just Concert Rob. And if you are not a subscriber, please hit that button. It helps us out a lot. And I would like to thank you for your time, and I'm sorry your battery's going to die on you.
That's all right. These things happen. Thank you so much for having me, and I'll see you around.